And, the first time I heard David Bowie was when the album The Man Who Sold the World came out. So I must have been a teenager. And somebody came and showed it to us. And that's the one with him in drag on the cover. And you really have no idea how shocking that was in 1970 or whenever it was. But it was. And the music was fascinating. I was especially intrigued by not only the title song, but I think Changes was on that album as well, if I remember correctly. So we mourn, along with the rest of the world, the death of David Bowie, who was incredibly compelling in so many different fields. Now, with this being a political show, I guess it raises the point that in many ways of his generation, Bowie seems to be the least political superstar of that generation. But I came across a fascinating quote from him, where he said when he was 17 or so, he realized that Bob Dylan had abdicated his role as the leader of a movement. He thought rock and roll could bring revolutionary changes, and he actually said this was this incredible self-confidence he had. He said, I saw a vacuum in leadership, and I thought, well, if Dylan is not going to fill it, I'll fill it. So, okay, what was David Bowie's leadership about? First of all, as we all know, it was about redefining our concepts of gender. It was about bringing alternative lifestyles, sexual, artistic, and otherwise, into the mainstream. It was about being fearless. It was about self-expression. He definitely did all those things. And I'm not going to say, by the way, that he was completely apolitical. He said certain things for shock. There was a point where he adopted the persona of the thin white duke, and he said complimentary things about fascism as part of a pose, but it was clearly, to me, part of a pose. But he had a famous, I encourage you to look it up, confrontation on MTV with an MTV VJ in the 80s, criticizing them for not playing enough black artists. I would hate to be in an argument with David Bowie. He is quite effective and compelling. He also, by the way, his video for, I believe it was Let's Dance, focused on and really highlighted Aboriginal Australians who have been very much mocked and ostracized in the world. He also, I think, in the group Tin Machine, he had a couple songs that were very political and very left-wing. And in his list of favorite books, which I don't have in front of me now, but last year he published a list of what he thought were the 100 most important books he had read. It included, for example, Christopher Hitchens' book back from when he was a good guy, in my opinion, The Trial of Henry Kissinger. So pointing out that Kissinger should probably be put on trial for war crimes. So David Bowie, while he's not a political figure per se, I think his politics were okay. I think he did a hell of a lot for the world, and he sure put out some great music. We're going to miss him.